God bless my mom. She worked 16 hours a day as a nurse's aide, changing bedpans and rolling patients. And she came home and she would tell me every single day in her own way, there is dignity in all work. And that's why I know as a nation, if you are able-bodied, you work.
Very good advice there. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. That was our next guest, South Carolina Senator and 2024 presidential candidate Tim Scott, who's joining us right now. Senator, great to have you back on. Good morning.
Good morning, Rob. Thanks for having me again.
Senator, the Bidenomics tour continued yesterday in your home state of South Carolina. On the one hand, you know, unemployment's at a 50-year low, 3.6%, but inflation, it's really high, and it just doesn't feel like things are going well. Do the American people buy this?
Absolutely not. What the president wants us to believe is what he says, in spite of what we see with our own eyes. And Rob, to the point of the 50-year unemployment rate that's so low, we have the fewest number of working age men in the workforce in the history of our country. When you stop counting the long-term unemployed, of course your unemployment rate goes lower. But more importantly, not only do we have fewer people in the workforce, the average family has lost $10,000 in spending power. Think about the fact that gas is 40% higher, electricity is 20% higher, and food is 20% higher. The households like the one I grew up in, single mom, mired in poverty, when your gas prices go up 40%, it's a crisis. When you're a senior citizen on a fixed income, and because of President Biden and 16% inflation and printing money we don't need, spending money we don't have, buying things we cannot afford, they're left holding the bill.
Yeah.
And had it not been for the Supreme Court, this same president would have put the student loan debt on the backs of mechanics and nurses' aides. For what? To relieve the pressure on doctors and lawyers making six figures. I can't think of anything more un-American than what we're seeing in Biden's economy. And I hope that he starts an apology tour. I recommended it yesterday. I'm going to reinforce it today. The more we understand about today's economy, the less we like
it's a good, I think that might register more effectively with the American people, Senator. You've been really vocal about the FEND Act to get people off fentanyl. I just want to know what you make of the fact that cocaine was found at the White House, and 6 days later, in one of the most secure buildings in the country, we still apparently have no idea who brought it in there. What do you make of that?
Well, I heard that they were going to conclude their investigation sometime soon. I have to say this, Rob, you have to start an investigation to conclude an investigation. Here's what we know today about the People's House, not Biden's White House, but our house. Today it is not secure. You cannot have what if it was anthrax? Mm-hmm. The security risk associated with not being able to find where the cocaine comes from is a problem. Think about the judgment that we're seeing out of the White House, whether it was during Pride Month, topless women parading around the White House, and now cocaine sitting around. And think about the most important quality that binds it all together: the lack of leadership. This president reminds us of the dereliction of duty that we see every day, whether it's our southern border, whether it's the White House and cocaine, whether it's with China, whether it's crime in the middle of our streets, whether it's inflation that we can't afford.
Senator,
this president lacks leadership.
Do you think that, and we're in speculative territory here, but do you think that the Secret Service indicated, to your point, that the investigation could be wrapped up by Monday? Do you think if Hunter Biden is any way implicated in this, that they would ever release that to the American people? Do you think they'd ever let us know?
Well, so far what we've learned is that it took almost 3.5 years for us to figure out what happened in 2020 with Hunter Biden. So the more we understand about the DOJ, the more we understand that the best thing we can do is fire Joe Biden, then fire Merrick Garland, and follow that by firing Christopher Wray. Said differently, we can't trust anything coming out of this administration as it relates to his family.
And if elected, you'd fire Christopher Wray if you were elected? Would you fire Christopher Wray? Would you fire Christopher Wray?
I certainly would. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
In order for us to restore confidence in the Department of Justice and integrity in the concept of Lady Justice wearing a blindfold, we need new leadership. Every single political appointee in the Department of Justice has to go to restore confidence and integrity for the American people.
All right, great point. Presidential candidate and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, always enjoy having you on. Great to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. God bless.
You too. Okay.